Hiya, g'day. Welcome to the Field of Streams, where every week I, your host Janine McRae, read a short piece of my writing to you so that you don't have to. That's just called being efficient. Now, I can't promise you much with these missives, but I can promise you this. They are short. Mercifully short at times. This one might even be under 10 minutes. Well, it will be if I get on with it. Now listen up. The pollen drop that was implanted into my nostril, which allowed me to sneeze this one out. I'm so sorry. That was unnecessary. You didn't like that? Ooh, that stings. Sorry again. I'm just winging it over here. See what I did there? It's about bees and stings and... No need to be snobby about it. Okay, I'll stop. I watched a Zay Frank video about bees that hipped me to how bees are actually good at maths, in that a bee can fly out, a scout bee, find a new spot for a home, go back to the hive, and share the location with all the other bees. How does it communicate this information? Well, the bee will buzz back, do a little butt-shaking dance, and spin around. Zay Frank described this as the Morse code of twerking, which I found delightful. The direction they move in corresponds to the direction of the location, and the distance is how long they shake that booty. It's roughly 1,000 meters for every second of shaking. Yes, bees can count. Okay, so that's what implanted the bees in my brain in the first place, at which point I imagined a bee that wanted to gain notoriety in the hive as a mathematician type. That led to me learning about drones, workers, and queens, and their roles within the hive, and about how drones are total layabouts whose only job is to eat, mate, and die. The death after mating is vicious, like his endophallus gets ripped out in the process, and if a drone doesn't get to mate, which many don't, they get kicked out of the hive in winter because they're considered a drain on resources, so they'll often die after that in the cold, cold, harsh winter. Woof! Or bzz, really. Now, if any situation warrants a reassignment of duties, it's the drone situation. All workers, interestingly, are female, and as the name suggests, they do all the work, including feeding those drones who, get this, don't even have a stinger. Ooh, harsh. The headline, "To be or not to be," set the structure. It's an obvious riff off Hamlet's Act 3 speech, but it's an official request to the Queen for reassignment. So there's sprinkles in there of the language and not so much the structure, because the actual soliloquy is much shorter than this, but that's enough setup. You got this. Let's go. So sit back, relax, and allow me to read to you a piece of my writing called To Be or Not to Be. 2. Queen. Z. From a drone congregation area, brackets DCA. RE. Application for reassignment. My queen. Z. To be or not to be a bee, or to be me bee. Should I? Whether 'tis better to drone insolent, hive mind swirling toward the eventual abyss of my directive, or to switch it up a bit and reject the premise. Ineffectual layabout, sucking on the nectar of the hive with impunity, taking everything, contributing nothing. Recalling the royal jellies of youth with decadent calories, spawning big eyes and too fat head while nodding to the beat of a bee-privileged life. Droning on and about in the DCA, congregating, droning, area-ing. Patient, calamitous hum, drunk with unexplored boredom, yearning for your regal zonal buzz to activate my urgent purpose. To dream, perchance to consummate, I will die. What kind of sleep is that? Jeez, bees. The dizzying plug hole of my quieter spins, staid, useless thing, do nothing nobody, collecting no pollen nor generating the sweet honeys of expectation. Manuka, devoutly to be manufactured, but not by me. How could I, think you, have fed the world when I could not even feed myself? This bee, this useless why be a bee, me bee. Eating more than my earnings, absent of stinger, hearing rumours of drones with groceries delivered in far-off other worlds. Inevitable dread of demise on the horizon. Aye, there's the dance. Eat, mate, die. Will I watch, falling, mourning my detached appendage, life fading from mine eyes, my bulbous and giant queen-seeking eyes, staring on as another usurps my contribution to genetic diversity? Barbarism of fate writ in the wax and cap, the natural, primal, helpful booty shakes of my sisters, I burn hot in conscious expectation. Come winter, do not come winter. That makes calamity of so short life. To paraphrase. The pang of unexploded ordnance consumes me when I have succumbed to expelled endophallus and duty performed in flurry of zone. The cost of consciousness will empty my register. All will be lost to the void of my inevitable timeline at that moment of ROI and evolutionary settlement. This plea of reassignment will ping in your inbox. Too late? Opportunity lost to the void of the server? From drone to worker, that is the question. The measure of my measure goes. I math hard. I math like no thorax's business. I can count 1, 2, 3, and higher. A wannabe worker, finding the fields of promise, dancing circles in the waxy landscapes of hiveland, tapping out the distance and coordinates of our promised lands, this undiscovered country from which no busy bee returns. We would return! Me, calculating the mathematics of noble distance, counting down the hours and minutes to infinite honeyed bliss. No longer a drain of a drone, now worker, contributor, provider. Counting the beat 2, 3, 4, 5. To be or not to be this bee? Did I mention I can count? Help. A drone. Reply reads, to a drone. From Queen Z. RE. Application for reassignment. Most precious and important drone. We have received your request for reassignment to worker. You already count, and we count on you. You will not survive, but through you, we thrive. Request denied. Responding collectively. And there you have it, today's episode. It's important to note that drones, while being layabouts, are actually kind of important. They ensure genetic diversity within the hive by mating with any queens that should happen to chance through the DCA, the drone congregation area. It's all luck, really, but they are important. And I think that's probably the bigger message is that, no matter what you roll, it's important to someone. Now, people, get out there. Share this episode and get me some buzz. I share these missives as a way of showing my creative process, and by doing that, perhaps inspire creative folk to get out there and make something of their own. If you enjoyed what you heard, follow the podcast so that you never miss an episode. And hey, if you like my writing, sign up for my newsletter at janinemccrae.substack.com. But until next we meet, I'll leave you with this. Love what you love, and I'll see you out there making stuff.